So today is a very special day, everyone, because I have with me an actual video game developer to interview. I am honored to be speaking with Manor Stories, who I recently promoted their upcoming visual novel game, Sylvia. How are you doing, Manor?
I'm doing very fine. Hello everyone. How are you doing yourself?
Oh, as well as can be. Been a busy day, not gonna lie, a bit exhausted, and it's definitely summer here in Canada, I can tell you that much. So, let's start off with a basic introductory question that I'm sure everyone is curious about. What inspired you to make Sylvia, to make a visual novel game?
Oh, other visual novel that I've seen, and not necessarily sexual visual novel. I loved Bionic Heart 1 and 2, and I wanted to do something similar with a lot of choice, lot of paths, and I was I'm a big fan of hentai, but it's always the same thing, and I wanted to do something different than schoolgirls and tentacles, if you see what I mean. So I wanted to do a story focused on character that could be believable, and in a set that will be a little bit more mature, something more a dream day of your life, something of that nature. I'm not big fan of fantasy in general. I'm sorry, and well, all the visual novels that I've seen have either the same kind of schema and the same kind of story, and I wanted to do something a little bit different, something more intimate, and that's the reason.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're both the writer for the game's story and dialogue, and its developer for the code and script, correct?
Yeah, I do music as well, and not all music, but half of it. And yeah, I'm doing the music and the code.
I'm curious. When it comes to how do you balance the writing and the scripting with the coding of the game? I can only imagine having to work on so many different aspects of the game all at once instead of having a staff with different people to manage different things. Like, I'm sure that you coding and developing the game influences the writing, or the writing influences the coding and developing. How does that work exactly?
So I start everything writing what I call the Bible. So it's the entire story, if I can say so, with not much details. And then I start coding, really. So let's have a look to a scene so I can explain you what is involved. So here we have the scene outdoor with Valerie. She said, "You're my silly champion. We are not done celebrating." So that's the dialogue part. So here she will change her face. So there's a transition when she's beating her lips. And then she said, "Look at me." It triggers an interaction, so you can look at her as much as you want. You can, if you click on her face, the face changes, and then there is another dialogue with a little animation here. And then she said, "This is the first time I see you hesitating." So that's a little sequence. It involves a lot of things, indeed. So if we look at the codes now, here you have the dialogues. That's the first thing I start with. And with the dialogues, I also add some comments and notes here that I can use later. So first of all, we have the dialogue. It gives a blank screen, but then we can check the rhythm of the sequence, be sure that the grammar is correct. And from my notes and the dialogue, I can determine a list of items I want. For example, I want to have a version of her face when she's smiling, another version of her face where she have her when she beats her lips, for example. And I generate that list here that I give to artists so they know what to color, what are the variations, and what to do. So here we have this long list of items. We put some colors in order to help differentiating the projects. And so that's the part I give to the artists. That's the longest to get. They give me usually the sketches. So when I have the sketches or everything I can use, I start adding camera movements, for example, or the transitions, so I don't have to do everything at the last time. And also what I do is I generate script for actors. So no way I can give that to an actor. They will not be able to understand that. So what I give to them is their dialogues here in that format. So it contains what part they are playing. Is there some indication for them to understand the situation? Sometimes I gave a preview in a video format so they can figure what's happening. A visual help is always good for me because, well, I'm not a native English speaker, so it avoids some explanation for me. They have, help to deliver their line, and then you have the lines themselves. So each actress has its own copy of the script that she can, record. And when I get this recorded, here there is an identifier. So each line here is indeed one audio file that needs to have that name. And that's how I implement the voice. So from the dialogue to the art, and also I need to check the art as well as it is drawn, to the implementation. That's a long process.
I see. This is quite the ordeal, and I can only assume this takes a great deal of time. How long would you say it takes to develop one scene in Sylvia, a single scene?
So in total, to give you an idea about the time it takes to do things, I prefer to talk about chapters because scenes can be different in length. It usually takes between 5 or 6 months to complete a chapter, from the writing to all the code and final delivery.
I can only imagine, based on everything you've told me and shown me, that this is also a massive financial endeavor. Having to pay the voice actresses, pay the artist to actually draw your backgrounds and characters. Correct me if I'm wrong, Patreon is essential. Financial donations are essential to have you keep this going.
So Patreon is essential. 6 months, it's long to produce. There's a lot of people involved from the artistic standpoint. So on average, a chapter, since we talk about chapter, can cost between 4 and 5,000 USD to build. It's financially, it's something.
My goodness.
Yeah, and it's getting better because Patreon is getting, is giving me more. But it's a lot. If you think about everything that need to be done, yeah. And I do a lot myself. I do the entire coding, I do the entire writing, and I do half of the music. So I don't have to pay for that because it's my own time.
But still, though, your time is valuable.
Yeah, but at least I don't have to. How could I say? I don't have to pick on the wallet in order to get it. Time management is also a big thing because everyone has his own schedule, and I'm very respectful of people. I hate to ask something for tomorrow. Nothing is for tomorrow. I have the time in advance. As I said, I have a Bible that I wrote before, so I know a little bit how things look like. I start with the dialogue also for a reason. It's not only giving me the mood of the scene, and it's also allow me to ask the voice actress in advance so they can record in perfect conditions. So time management is also important when you do a game. You never, unless you are really bad as a director, never for tomorrow. You have to think forward and prepare things in advance so elements came to you in a natural flow. That's super important.
Of course, I can only imagine. Now, I'm curious, is Sylvia the first game you've ever made, or have you made visual novels or other styles of games before in the past?
I have made one game called Summer Dream that is in French. Can I still run it? I'm not sure. Let me check. It's Let me show you. It's a very old logo of Manor Stories. It's in French. I can show it to you. It's a romance. Sorry, everything's in French. Let me change the...
It's fine. It's fine. I know my French viewers will appreciate it.
So it's in 3D, and I was using a video game to make the visuals. It has some similarities with Sylvia in terms of interface. I would say it was my first thing. It's sexy, and it have animations. So let me go quick so you can see some animations as well. I wanted to edit it so you can recognize a little bit of the interface of Sylvia. I wanted to edit it, but since the visual were not original, I didn't keep it. So it's on my computer now. But here you can probably see some smoke and some smooth animations here of the girl, and well, there is a little bit of Sylvia in her. So yeah, this was my first game. It's not as advanced as Sylvia, by the way, but
I'm curious. What influence did you take from your first game and take it into Sylvia? I'm sure there were some important lessons you learned making your first game.
Oh yeah, the first thing I learned is about voices. Summer Dreams was supposed to be voiced in French, and I start with the voice actress that is voicing Sylvia in French, and all the process about implementing voice came from this experience. It was a little bit tedious, but we had the basics, and one of the reasons also I lose interest in Summer Dreams. It's finished. It's a finished game. There is an end to it, but since the visuals were not original, it came from that video game. And it was before Oni Select from Illusion. I don't remember I think it's called Sexy Beach 3. That's the name of the game. I was not able to do anything with it, I felt, because, well, it's not original, then I may have some copyright issues, and, well, why putting a lot of effort and money in something that I probably will not be able to release one day? So we started to look at artists, and we found BBC Chan. I sent him an email. Flattery was my only asset for him, because, well, I had nothing, and his response was very nice, and he agreed to make the first drawing of Sylvia, and I keep asking more from him since. And we started Sylvia like that, and because BBC was streaming as well, and people were asking, yeah, what is this sexy lady that you're drawing? And he said, well, it's for Manor Stories. He's trying to make a visual novel, and people get interest. Last year, I opened my Patreon, and the story began with Sylvia.
That's wonderful.
Does it answer the question?
Yes, that answers the question of absolutely.
So, yeah, I would say it was a great adventure, even if I had a lot of frustration, because in the beginning, I was looking for French voice. A lot of people enjoyed Nikita's voice. So if you have not done that, in the preference of Sylvia, you have the ability to change the language. So here you can go select the language and have the text in English or in French, but also the voice in French. In French, you will only have the voice of Sylvia, and the reason is it took me 1.5 years to finally give up on French voice other than Sylvia. I was refused everywhere.
Really?
Yeah. And I got ugly comments like, you're nothing. I heard it a lot. And Sylvia is what? It's just a slideshow. And when I found the English voice, it took me 6 weeks to get the cast. So have the casting done, choose the actress. Pixie Willow, Minnie Stern, and Voice Like Candy. And in 6 weeks, everything was done. They were chosen, it was recorded, it was implemented in the game. 6 weeks. 1 year versus 1 year and a half to finally give up on other voices than Sylvia voice in French. Kudos to the English voice actress. And I got, for French, I've got ugly comments like, I remember trying to go back to a studio in France to recruit actress because I had a little bit of budget, and I had a demo with the 2 first chapter, the demo that you know.
Yes.
And they told me, oh no, that's not legit. It will never work. And at the end, the guy was super rude and tell me, good luck with your student and their Chinese microphone. I was, what?
My goodness.
And yeah, so, well, I'm sorry. I don't think there will be more French voice for Sylvia.
I'm curious, why do you believe that when searching for French voice actors and actresses, they had such a volatile response? Do you think it's something to do with the culture in France, like looking down at these kinds of indie games, these visual novels and sex games and hentai games?
Part of it is, I think, this snob attitude, regarding this production because they think it's cheap, and it doesn't deserve interest, maybe. I think also I was not from a known studio, and this is the big problem I have. If I was someone, remember, they always tell me you're nothing. If I was someone, maybe they will be more inclined to work with me. But it's okay. I don't need more French voice for Sylvia, and I'm very happy with the cast I have. So it's not a problem. But yeah, it give a very bad taste in the mouth. I have to confess.
I can understand. I understand that completely, and I'm very sorry you went through that. You have my sympathies, Manor.
Oh well, it's not the first. I don't want to talk too much about haters, but I had my fair share of hater comments, to be honest. And one of them was indeed a compliment. The guy said, Sylvia is too clever for the average teenager to fap, and it's not. I tried to translate that from French, and it's not flattering the ego of elites enough in order to be considered seriously. Well, hey, if it means I'm genuine, guys, I'm super fine with that. But that's a kind of comment I had. Yeah. So this is why I was surprised by your review.
Oh, really? Well, what about my review surprised you?
Well, first because I remember we discussed with we chat before that and say, well, do it only if you like it, and I was surprised by the intro. You may a visual novel that is good. It's really serious. First of all, I thought it was a joke, and then I realized that it was a nice compliment to take. And the comments on the video was very heartwarming. An artist doesn't necessarily need love, but he needs genuine feedback. And after all those years of hate, it just felt good. It just felt good to have someone that said, hey, that's someone that understood what we were doing.
Well, thank you. I thank you. No, thank you for the compliment and the opportunity and the honor. I really do appreciate this opportunity that you've given me, and you being so, giving me your trust, like putting that trust in me. I really appreciate it. And genuinely, you have something here. You have something good with Sylvia here. I know you thought I was joking with the bad visual novel bit, but keep in mind I am biased. I have my own biases. Keep that in mind. I'm not entirely pure and objective here. But I've just had very bad experiences with visual novels with just bad storytelling, bad writing, nonsensical characters. Like I just like compared to other games, other indie games, and even AAA games, like I just didn't care. That's the big problem I have with visual novels. I just don't care. I don't care about what's going on. I don't care about the characters in the game. I just don't care. It feels like it's all just filler to get to the romance bits. But with your game, the romance is only part of it. The romance comes from the characters. The romance comes from your writing and the storytelling and the situations you build up to. Like it's not all just filler. Then here's the sex scene you've been waiting for. It's no, you get to know these characters. You get you get to see the reasonable natural transition of the main protagonist falling for these characters, and the let's say lewd situations he gets written into. So okay, but that leads me into my next question. As someone who's making a not safe for work game, I'm curious, how do you conceptualize the sex scenes?
Well, it's have to. Oh gosh, that's a tough question. I would say I write it without necessary, I'm embarrassed. Well, it came from my kings, to be honest. Okay, let's be honest. It came from things to see because I find them sexy, and especially the first scene in the first chapter. This is something that you don't see often in video game, and well, I find that pose sexy, if I can say so. But it came naturally from the mood of the situation they are. So, for example, at the end of the first chapter, they are colleagues. They want to have fun, but they can't really because Sylvia knows that he have a girlfriend, and she doesn't want. She have this little moment of magic when she have done this little strip, so she want to have fun with it, but not go too far. So that give me directions. By have fun without going too far. So what can I choose? Hand job. Well, it's maybe a little bit rude at first or expected. And since there were all these joke about, hey, you constantly look at my miniskirt on my thighs, then here is a scene with the thighs that came in. And later on, it also give a little fetish for the character that you have this beautiful lady with huge boobs and how you look at his thighs. It was funny to add that. So yeah, here is how you think about, or at least I think about the sex scene is what's the situation they are in and what would be appropriate to do in such situation.
Okay, that actually makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Same for the scene, for example, in the that you can see on the title screen with Leia when she's begging for a massage and get it, and she got very close to the character, and then she's too close, and then a natural reaction occur. And if you play well with Leia, something else can happen. But yeah, they're alone in a beach. They enjoy a day together, and you have been. If you want to go to that part, you have to be very good and gentleman with that lady. So yeah, things came naturally, and she had a crush on you, and she tried to get something of the situation. This is
all right then. Yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, don't keep saying more. This is an interview. Shit.
Well, I don't want to spoil the end of the story.
Of course. So, The next question: when it comes to the actual characters themselves, the romances,
Mhm.
the women of the game, how did you? Well, let me rephrase that. How did you come up with their designs? Like, what made you settle on, okay, she's going to be a brunette, she's going to be a blonde, she's going to have this cup size, she's going to have this figure? How did you decide on those factors?
So if we look at Sylvia, um, each of the girls came from an idea that indeed every minds are built of three elements: education, experience, and legacy. If you look at your story, your own story yourself, you are mold your brain and your spirit and how you behave have been molded by that. What did you learn, what experience you have, good or bad, and what your parents gave you. It could be from the DNA, but also from the family situation you were in. So each of those girls represent one of those points, and the player is in the middle. So that's the basic idea of the design. I wanted to have a triangle design. So this is something that came very, very quickly in the development because most of the stories are binary. So you have the bad and the good, or you have a collections of girls simply to be sure that you tick all the potential kinks. I need to have a blonde, I need to have a brunette, and then I need to have a redhead, and then I need to have a girl with a dark tone, a girl with maybe more Asian traits, etc., etc. Because they want to browse all potential kinks so they can have everyone finding their interest on it. I didn't want it that. So this is why I came with this triangle. And you will see I pushed the concept a little bit for fun. So if you look at Sylvia traits, Sylvia represents education. So I wanted to have black, white, gray, maybe just one touch of color, a little bit like a school book, very minimalistic in terms of color. So you will see always Sylvia in black, gray, shade of gray, or one touch of color, okay? Because she's education and I wanted her to look a little bit like a teacher, okay? And her entire life, her entire spirit is, I want to do things that are good for people. She always reminds herself, stay strong, or remember what you've learned about, or she's always about, teaching, education, be good. You see my point?
Yes, I do.
Okay. If you look at Leia, she's binary in colors. So if you look at her colors, she have blonde hairs and blue outfits, or there is some element of blue because they are opposite colors. She represents experience. And if you follow her background, she have been, left alone when she was young. She have been waitress in a bar. She hates people calling her cutie because in that bar she had people trying to grope her. And she's very all about being pragmatic. She's all about, I will show you how it's done, or I want a massage too. And she's very genuine. She likes or she hates, but she's a little bit binary also. But like experience can be, it's bad or it's good if you see what I mean. So she represents experience. And if you look at Valerie, she is the former girlfriend. She is the family. She's the honor. She is military also. She have tones of gold, red, and black that are imperials. Okay, so legacy, imperial, family. She has much more layer than you think to her. And she is the woman that's try to protect her love, because she doesn't necessarily know how to do that, but she see her love drifting away, and she tried to maintain it also, not only for honor and family, but also for all the good years that they have before, so all the legacy that they have before. So this is how I make the the girls. And if you want to put the concept further, when you're at one point of a triangle, you see the two others. Okay, so if you're at Valerie's standpoint, what does she see? She sees Leah and Sylvia being good friends, working in the same company. If you are Leah, what she sees is two stunning, tall, strong women, Sylvia and Valerie, that somehow fight each other because they are for her in the same level, and she's always a little bit at the back. Because if you play the game, it's really about Sylvia versus Valerie, if I can say so. And if you look at Sylvia, what does she see? Two stunning blondes. So you can turn around with it. I had a lot of fun writing that. Tell me if I go too far.
You haven't. I understand. It's fascinating to see your philosophy for writing and developing and creating these characters, like all the little nuances and references.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, this is the basics. This is a story I have in mind for a long time. I have these three girls representing the spirit of the mind, the triangle of the mind, as I called it, and have the player decide, will I go all education? Will I go for experience? Will I go for legacy? Of course, you cannot say that in a game because it will make it very boring. Can you imagine, a menu and say, do you want legacy? Do you want education? Or do you want... So it will... Yeah, that's the way I want to write them.
I understand, and so far, it's looking pretty good. I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the chapters once you have them finished. Links to Sylvia, to the Patreon, where you can support Manor Stories in his game, will be in the description and in the comments section down below. So, that's about Sylvia, your excellent upcoming indie game, your visual novel, your erotic story. But now that we've gone over the game, how about we get to know you a bit more, if that's all right, Manor?
Okay.
All right. So,
what do you want to know?
Okay, seeing as you're French, you're born in France. I need to know about the French stereotype. So, from birth, are the French always romantic, or is it something you develop along with the culture?
I think it's something to develop. Once again, it depends how much education or experience or legacy you have. Going back to Sylvia. No, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I never... This is something funny. People think French are romantic, but for me, nothing is less romantic than France. But it's probably because I live there. Sorry to kill. Well, if I can say a personal story, I work in Japan for some time, and when I was there,
oh my goodness,
people asked me, "Oh, can you say something in French?" And I was like, "Well, I have no idea." It was, late in the evening, okay, and I have no clue what I could say, and I simply say something random in French, like I eat bread or I eat cheese, but I said it in a kind of sexy voice, and it was like, "J'aime le fromage. C'est bon." And they were all, "Oh, so nice, cute." And they asked me over and over, and I was saying, stupid things like, "I didn't lace my shoes," or anything random you can think about.
Oh, that's brilliant! That's brilliant! I love it. Oh man, I gotta keep that in mind. Oh, the language games you can play with people.
Yeah, well, I still don't know why people find it sexy, but apparently, at least in Japan, it worked, even with the most random words you can find. J'aime le pain.
All right. Up next, so on a scale from 10 to 11, how lucky are you to be surrounded by beautiful women, beautiful voice actresses like Pixie Willow, Millie Stern, and Voice Like Candy? Like, you lucky fucking dog, you.
Well, I was lucky that they wanted to work for me, because as I said, I was nothing in the beginning, and still, the game is in development, so I can still say that I don't have much, but yeah, I was super lucky to have them choosing me. Those are in this is a point I hope you will mention. The voice actress. Uh, I'm blessed with the cast I have because they are all incredibly hardworking person. I mean, voice like Candy, Pixie Willow, and Minister, they audition for everything. Um, I would like also to add Silky Milk here. She's doing some secondary character because I knew her very late in the development of the game, but I enjoy working with her. She's great, to work with. Same kind of superwoman, if I can say so. Hardworking, very easy to work with. If I have to say, well, here I would like to have a little bit more sarcasm, or can you do things differently? They always came back with fix or ideas, and sometimes because I'm French, my writing is not perfect, or it took me a lot to explain what could be a very simple word, but I just missed the vocabulary. They're never angry against me, and they are very patient with me. And well, it's a true delight. To work with. I'm blessed. I love them. They're great to work with.
That's what I was hoping to hear. Yes, the people you work with who I'm very familiar with, and I'm very happy that they've allowed me to help support and promote them. They are wonderful people. You are very lucky. We are both very lucky to know such wonderful people. And links to everybody in the comment section and in the description. Go support these wonderful, phenomenal voice actresses who really give it their all, give it their heart. They're blessings on this world, I swear. So.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's talk about something a bit else about you. So, outside of visual novels, of course, whatever video games do you play and like?
I like retro games a lot, and I know you like Doom. I played Doom.
Someone watches my videos.
Yeah, I play Doom on the Sega 32X in very in the late 80s, 90s. Not
old
the best
school.
Sport, but,
not the best sport, but damn, that's old school. Nostalgic.
Yeah, but I was fascinated by this game. I had also an Amiga at this time, and I was part of the demo scene of the Amiga. So I was making, little programs in order to show some visual effects, and I did some music, and this really took the Amiga by storm. And well, I think Doom was the nail in the coffin of the Amiga, because it was something that we never thought was possible. And it was technically impressive, but also a very, very fun game. So yeah, Doom has an impact on the nerd and geek I am. But I play more Quake. I think Quake have a more slower pace than Doom, and enemies are tougher, and you really have to know the moves, and how to aim, and how you're going to take a situation. There is a little bit more strategy than the original Doom. I'm speaking of the original Doom.
Of course.
Not the wonderful remake they have done later on. So yeah, and Monkey Island.
You're pushing all my right buttons. You know exactly what buttons of mine to push, you devil. You have been researching me. You've been studying me. You've been preparing for this moment, haven't you?
Yeah, you don't know, but I am the puppet master.
Sorry, please continue. You said Monkey Island.
Monkey Island. Well, there is also a reference to Monkey Island in Sylvia, but yeah, I love Monkey Island. I love the humor. I love the graphics. It's a wonderful game, really. More recently, I've played Shadow of the Colossus on the PS4.
Good choice. Classic.
I loved every minute of this, and I never played the original one. I just heard of it, but never really played. And I did that on streaming, because one thing I like to do, I didn't have time, but one thing I like to do is to stream when BBC also draws, because give a team spirit, feel less alone. And I was playing this game for the first time, and the chat was challenging me a little bit, saying, "Well, that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it." And I ignore, so I was trying and trying again because I wanted to go with my idea. And people on the chat was making fun of me and say, "Hey, we'll never make it." And some people said, "Yeah, maybe we should tell him how to do that." And they were, "No, don't tell him anything, otherwise he will never learn." That was a great experience. The game itself, but also the way I played it with the comment on the chat, because everyone know the game, and I was just genuinely discovering it and enjoy it. That's a wonderful experience. Other games?
I'm so happy to hear. I'm so happy to hear. All right, up next, obviously, Sylvia, your game, is based wholly around really well-drawn art. So I'm curious, are you an artisan? Do you do you want to become an artist? Do you have a passion for art and drawing?
No, because I know I can't do it. I'm a composer. I made music. And so I have kind of artistic feel or taste. I usually let BBC decide. I give him the structure, and I want this kind of color. I give him reference, but I learned very quickly that when you work with someone that is that experienced and that great, than BBC and Mariana, you should never forget Mariana as well, because she's responsible for the colors and backgrounds and characters. She does a lot for the game. Sometimes you also need to rely and trust people that work with you and let them come with ideas. So this is why I pitch the scenario to them, and this is why I let them have freedom, because you can try to control things, but you will only get what your control can have. And giving a little bit of freedom give also sometimes very, very nice results. And for example, some details that I would never thought of, or I can't think of any at the moment. Or I remember Mariana designed for the lady in the shop. She was not happy, and by herself she proposed something different and say, "Hey, what do you think about this new lady?" And effectively, she was more pretty, even if I like the original. But that's the kind of surprise and professionalism you will get from people if you let them breathe, if I can say so. Sorry, I hijacked the question.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We're trying to get to know you, and you now have and you've shared more about your game and your passion for music. I'm happy to hear.
And and for the artists, let them go. If I have a one advice to give is, let artists breathe. Don't struggle them with crazy deadlines, and don't think that you have all the knowledge. Let them. I used to say, I'm responsible of the stage, but you are the star. So I try to make sure that.
Sweet. That's sweet.
Yeah. Well, that's true. And if BBC is a busy man, really, really busy. He's incredibly successful. Is I knew that making color was a little bit difficult for him, not because he didn't like it. He's great in coloring, but it was taking some time from him. And here's how I recruit Mariana and say, well, BBC, okay, do the line art. The line art is great, and I will try to find someone that will give the line art you have some justice with colors. And it worked well. And BBC can continue to work on the game and deliver on the game, because also I accommodate for his time, because he was extremely successful, and I didn't want him to be to leave Sylvia, because he could have told me, well, I'm sorry, Manor, but I don't have the time to continue. But I think it went well, and he continues to work with us, and I'm always blessed when he sends me something. So maybe this is the artistic feeling, because I know what, or at least I can imagine what an artist can feel.
I'm sensing a bromance here. I'm sensing a real bromance between you and BBC Chan, and I adore it. It's so sweet.
Well, without him, nothing of this happened. And yes, I think we're friends. It's a very strong word for me. I don't have many friends, and the people I call friend is, well, there is only a few, and it means something to me. And yeah, BBC is one of them, because especially when I had all these haters, easy for me to keep my head cool, and he's always there to tell me, you shouldn't read that stuff, or of course, you made, maybe sometimes I make mistake in my communication. He's always there to say, hey, maybe you should have spoken differently. And this is what true friend does. They not always praise you, but they also tell you when you could be better. And yeah, BBC is like that. Not only BBC, Pixie will also.
Oh, this is so sweet. This is so wholesome. I'm going to cry. This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. I'm sorry. I need to hijack this and ask some silly bullshit questions. Can I ask you some silly bullshit questions?
Yeah, but can I also have some silly bullshit answers?
Oh, yes, that's great. Yes, those work too. So, how would you survive a ghost apocalypse?
Being a ghost myself, and work the politics of the ghost and become the king of the ghost.
Oh shit! Damn, that was quick-witted. Fuck. Okay. I need to try and get you on something here. If you had to sacrifice a puppy or a kitten to save someone you love, what would you sacrifice? The puppy or the kitten?
I would sacrifice myself to get the puppy and the friend alive.
Oh!
I couldn't kill a puppy.
Oh, man. Damn! Shit! Oh, that's such an honorable answer! Fuck! You're killing me here! Oh, man. I'm scrolling through my list of bullshit questions I have for interviewees, and I'm trying to think of something that will get you here. If you had the choice, if we could no longer live in, normal cities, live on the surface, would you prefer to live in the sky or underground?
Tough question. I don't know. Sky, you have air, so you can breathe, but it can get very cold, which is nice because then it gives a reason to be in the bedroom and potentially have a good time with someone you like.
Priorities.
Yeah, underground it's hot, so maybe also it could put the loved one into good thing. Well, you can have sex in both situations. It's impossible to choose, man.
I was thinking more of the dangers. Like, if you live in the sky, there's a possibility of, falling to your death. And if you live underground, there's the possibility of cave-ins. So I was thinking more like, what's more of the greater risk?
Yeah, but, well, in my priority order, sex goes before risk.
Fair enough. Oh, man. Okay, next question. If you could star in a horror movie, would you play as the killer or one of the victims or survivors?
Well, I am not a big fan of violence, to be fair. So it's difficult for me to see myself as a killer. So I would say by default, I will be a victim.
Oh, all right. Interesting. Okay, one last silly bullshit question. Will you be supporting me in my upcoming conquest of the world?
Yes.
Oh?
Yes. What's the plan? Kill all haters and stupid people on Earth?
What the fucking shit? No!
Well, if it's just a carnage.
I want to conquer the world. I don't want to destroy it.
Well, at least if you conquer something, it's because you have a plan and want to make it better, or some more at your image or something.
Oh yes, of course.
Well, it will depend. It will depend on the plan. It's have to have a cause.
So is it a yes or a no depending on my plan and policies?
I would say more depending on who you are. I will follow you.
Ah.
So, sorry, because of who you are, I will follow you.
Oh, okay. All right. That's great. Wonderful. Happy to hear. Okay, Manor, now that we've gotten to know you a little bit, do you have any questions for me? I like to do this at the end of all my interviews. Ask me anything, serious or silly.
Serious? Maybe something silly after that. You start, your career as a video YouTuber on gaming. I know you're turning to adult gaming. Aren't you afraid to lose some people, in the way?
I might lose some people. I've already lost some. I've had a couple people message like, this is not the content I subscribed for and what that, but I don't mind. I've always made the videos I want to make the videos that make me happy, the videos I want to watch, that I want to see, so I understand. If someone wants to unsubscribe, they can unsubscribe if they're not enjoying my content. I understand. Like, I'd rather they unsubscribe because they just don't like my videos rather than they unsubscribe because they think ill of me, or they unsubscribe based on misinformation on me, or they unsubscribe because they hate me over something petty. Those kinds of unsubscriptions are like, oh, well, that's fucking stupid. But if they just want to unsubscribe because, hey, I don't like the direction your channel's going in, I don't like these new videos, hey, that's fine, I get it, that's alright. It's your time, you want to watch the YouTube videos you want to watch, and if I'm not providing you with content that you find enjoyable, that's fine. If you unsubscribe to me for stupid, irrational, nonsensical, petty reasons, then I might have a problem, but people who just want to unsubscribe because they're just not enjoying my content anymore, I understand completely. That's fine with that. I do the same thing. Treat people how you want to be treated. And again, I like making this content. I like interviewing people from another space, another corner of the internet that I'm unfamiliar with. It's exciting. It's an adventure.
Okay, so yeah, you're more into the discovery and going uncharted places, if I can say something like that, rather than stay in the label you're comfortable with. And that's admirable. Because the law of YouTube and how the YouTube algorithm work. The more you are in one content type of content, the more that you are recognized. So it's very brave from you to try to explore different territories.
Oh, I wouldn't call it brave. I just call it apathetic. Because I don't care about YouTube's algorithms. They can go fuck themselves.
Well, that's all I have. Oh, no, stupid question. What do you drink in the morning? Tea, coffee, or soda?
Orange juice.
What's your routine when you wake up?
Wake up, I usually get a call from my boss that I have a renovation job. I try and eat or drink what I can, usually orange juice or cereal. Sometimes I don't get a chance to have breakfast, so I usually wake up, get a call, go to the job, come back home, and then have a late breakfast with orange juice and cereal.
Okay, so orange juice and cereal. Okay.
Yeah, I know, I'm a basic
Nice.
bitch. I'm a basic bitch. I have nothing interesting. Orange juice and cereal.
This is not what I meant to say.
No!
Sorry.
Oh, I didn't mean to twist your words. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we will end. Sorry then. Thank you for watching. Please, follow this guy. He's awesome. He dared to interview a French guy. How crazy he is, but he makes people incredibly comfortable in interview. Love it. Follow him. Do me a favor, or beware. I'm going to search for you if you don't.
There we go. That's what I like to hear. Threatening my audience. That's what I like to hear. So, Manor, one last question. Not a silly bullshit question. How much do you love making Sylvia?
Whoa. A lot. I have multiple reasons to say to love it, because it's well, I'm going to be deep there. So First of all, I'm a very shy person. You probably noticed I'm always, cautious and nervous about, do I do the things right? I'm not offending, etc., etc. And I often depict myself as a man in a cave, alone and working the things that was nobody else, caring of what I do. And Sylvia was probably the first time I felt being accepted by a community. First of all, it starts with BBC Chan. This is also why I have an admiration not only to the artist but also for the person. He could have said no, and he said yes. And also to the English, adult voice actor community, because it's like, how could I say? I think they accepted me, and I'm still very humbled that great people that we mentioned from the cast, but also there is also other people I cannot name them all. Sorry, that welcomed me, and that's something to me. And there's the fan and people downloading the game and liking the game and supporting it financially as well. I don't want to disappoint those people, so now I feel that I have a responsibility. First, it was made for fun, a little bit for subversion. No, it's something very serious to me. It's very dear to me because I don't want to disappoint, and I hope I won't disappoint. And for all that what people gave me, I don't think even my best is not enough. Here is.
I think you're a bit too hard on yourself, man. I think you're doing great. You're doing a great job. You keep doing what you're doing. You have tons of people that want to support you and see this thing through and keep you doing what you're doing. So, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. Thank you for doing this interview with me. You have been an absolutely wonderful guest interviewee. It is a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for making me a part of your game and giving me the honor and the privilege to review it in an early access format.
Thank you. I'm shocked, happy, and honored that you support Sylvia and support it very well. And it's been a pleasure to talk with you.
But the pleasure is all mine. Thank you again. Thank you again. Now, if all of you watching would be so kind as to follow Manor Stories on Twitter, support him on Patreon, give him all your money. You know the drill by now. You go support the person I'm interviewing, or I threaten your life and come find you and make life very difficult for you. You won't survive. You won't survive this if you don't follow and support Manor Stories, is what I'm saying. So you all go do that. So links in the description and in the comments section. So, any closing statements, Manor?
Stay wholesome.